A two. Let's get
Up.
a do.
Nice.
Oh, I'm first. Let's go.
Yeah, that went up pretty fast.
What's up, y'all?
What's up, everyone? Which is probably like two of you, two
Two
or three of
people.
you. We'll see. But welcome back to Fast Track Feedback Fridays.
Y'all.
And yo, Raw9 Raul, welcome back. Good to
That's
see
that
you.
Gorange, bro.
Oh
Gorange,
yeah,
bro.
yeah.
Check your DMs.
I always forget you have a different Twitch name than your artist name.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got you in the queue. You are the only person in the queue. So that's a call to action to anyone else who's got music that you are making or you've made that you would like to get some feedback on for free.
Mm-hmm.
We do very detailed constructive feedback, so we'd love to get them there.
Solek.
Solex,
What's
you're
up,
here
bro?
too. Sweet. Dude, send us some music. We've got lots of spots in the queue.
Mm-hmm. I dropped the ball. I'm supposed to give him a verse.
Oh,
You gave me a sweet
he's
beat.
coming to check on that.
Yeah, my bad, bro. What's going on, Solex? You playing you don't I always say wow, but I don't think you're playing wow. You're playing something. But good to see you, brother.
Yeah. And
And Gorange, bro, I DM'd you on SoundCloud. Don't leave me hanging. Just reply. You don't
oh
have to
yeah,
say yes, but I'm curious.
the Hibs. What's up?
The Hibs, what's up, bro?
All
Get your
right.
music in. I imagine that's why you came here,
Yeah,
or
send
randomly.
send it in. There's a link right there.
You good, Gorange? SoundCloud. Who uses SoundCloud messages? Am I right? Like, not me. But I couldn't find like your artist stuff on socials at all, so you're hard to find.
It
But
sounded like you said Clown Cloud, which I think is a good name.
it's pretty appropriate, right?
Clown Cloud. It's
I have
funny.
a special spot in my heart for SoundCloud.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Yeah. But
Um,
yeah, guys, queue wide open. Get it in there. We got Gorange up first. With is that a Nokia?
looks
It's
like
a
it.
blast from the past, bro. Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and give it an intro? I'll just put this song in the Discord, guys. Go ahead and go to our Fast Track Discord. You can talk to other Fast Trackers. We'll come up with a catchier fan base name, I guess, I suppose. But yeah, we're gonna go in there. We're gonna put in the each song that you give us. That way, you guys can score it the way that we do. So stay tuned for those links and those polls. But yeah, Josh will go ahead and introduce the song, and I'll get that ready.
Yes, sir. So it looks like we've got intro question mark. So maybe not sure if it's an intro. Let us know. I guess you've got some context here, so I'll read that in a sec. But you said you're the artist. Track genre is experimental, and you are the artist, Gorange, with an X. So description is I'm thinking of making a whole album, and I think this could be a cool intro and introduction to the genre and type of sound of the rest of the album. It is quite different from what I've made before. I would like some tips on how I could make it more listenable also.
Cool.
Okay, cool. So currently you don't really have like the rest of the album. This is kind of like testing the waters. This is your intro potentially. And this is like a different genre than you've made before. So you want to make sure that it's like good and listenable and that you should move forward. Okay. Said
Interesting.
yes. Sweet. The Hibs said, "Can I fill in the form a link or only upload?" So you have to upload because, as you can see, the waveform on the overlay requires the file to be in our system in order for it to show up and be listenable for you guys, and listenable at high quality. So,
Yep.
yes, you do have to upload.
SoundCloud compresses it, y'all. We don't.
Yeah.
We want to hear that beautiful wave.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you could upload, we'd love to hear it. Again, we give very detailed feedback just to give some context since you're new here, the Hibs. We give like 15 minutes or so of feedback on each track, and we go through those categories down there. So we really like dive deep into vibes, content production, and then give you a track total score. If your track is really great, we might give you top tier track, which is off the scale, and that'll get you a feature on our Instagram. So it's hard to achieve. It has to be like really, really great, radio ready, something special. But just letting you know that's there if you are a
We've
prodigy.
been fiending for that, y'all. I think the last one we got was October 2023. So
I thought we had one in January of this year, but
possibly. Point is, it's
maybe
really
it's
long.
been a while. Yeah,
The Hibs is ready, bro.
let's
All right,
go.
bro. Let's get into the music, y'all. All right, go for it.
Cool. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Nokia Core for sure.
little bit disorienting.
with the bass.
Yeah, it's just like part of it is inside of a club and part of it's not. I feel. Weird distortion.
Gives me a Bleeded Out vibes by Linkin Park. Oh, cool breaks. Bass is very loud.
Interesting. So it sounds like it's not completely done yet.
Nope.
Both with the arrangement, content, and the production, I presume.
Hmm.
I mean, I have a lot of questions. I
Sure.
would say is the main thing. So, like, since you're here, we can ask, which is good.
Hmm.
But like, you said this is experimental, so I guess that kind of helps center us around what you're trying to do. Um, that's I just want to confirm, like, the avenue that you want to go with this album potentially is like experimental, which often carries a connotation of not being very accessible to like most people. I think it can be hard sometimes to find an audience in experimental that's really like easy to find and willing to listen, just because there's so much sort of randomness and chaos that's like central to experimental music. So that's something to consider. Do you care that you might have a small audience with releasing something like this, or are you just doing it because you want to like get into this weird genre, make weird stuff, basically, which is kind of the thing, the ethos behind experimental. I want to make weird stuff that sounds interesting.
Hmm.
So that's question one. Is that something that you're okay with, or are you thinking that you're like going to make an experimental album and then actually sort of rocket your career as an artist up with it? Because that is a more challenging
I want to make weird
task.
stuff that sounds interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So primarily, like, you just like making weird stuff and want to make a bunch of it.
Hmm.
Literally exactly what I'd like, to be frank.
So I would ask you, weird in what way? Because um, I feel like I would like to listen to this kind of music, but I would like to listen to it mixed differently. Like just from the way that it was produced, I feel like I would like to hear, for example, I like the break drums that you're using and the sounds, but I feel like they're way too quiet and they're not punching through at all. I feel like
Yeah.
there's like a grittiness to this that I like with the distorted guitars and kind of the dark bass that's happening, as well as those gritty sounding drum samples. But again, like it sounds kind of like held back and not like gritty in my face, like
Yeah.
hard as shit sounding. So like my question to you is like weird in what way? Like is it weird as in like you want to produce it badly? Like that's one way of being
Yeah.
weird. And
Yeah.
I would argue that you probably don't want to do that. Um so that would be my first tip. Just kind of speaking from like a threshold of professionalism. Like, does this sound like someone who's experienced, who knows what they're doing, and is releasing a track that is like you say, more listenable?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would argue that it's not that. Just from the kind of uh, sound design. There's also like I guess kind of getting into content, but I feel like for example the bass and the guitar parts get kind of old and stale after a while. And this is a short track, right?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
Um,
30.
a minute 30. Like we shouldn't be bored in a minute 30, right? So a lot of repetition. And I feel like the bass line kind of clashes with what the guitar is doing sometimes. I feel like the bass line was mostly octaves, right? Actually, if we play it again, it's just doon 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 doon.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, I don't know if it's clashing. It's just doon 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 doon. Like I don't know. I
I'm
guess it's
almost not sure. Like, I don't want to like unbrand your music as not experimental, but like, I'm just trying to figure out like what exactly is experimental about this, right?
mm,
Because
fair.
experimental usually is like you're pushing the envelope and you're really like doing things that are significantly odd, but tend to take a lot of effort to create something different than like anyone has typically heard, not like something a sound nobody's ever created before, but it's like this is kind of just a bass line that is mixed kind of badly, right? Like it sounds like it's like behind club doors. There's like it's very rolled off, right? And then there's like a distorted synth and it kind of doesn't have much else going for it.
Mm,
The structure is like almost like popular music where it's got like sections that kind of have like repeatable loops and stuff, which isn't always the case for experimental where like you don't necessarily need to have a sort of repeatable structure, right? You could have just like a through composed experimental piece. And like
mm,
I have also heard a lot of experimental music from unfortunately being a music major, and there's just like a world between kind of going into your DAW and fucking around and making something that's kind of odd versus really digging into the weeds of like crafting sounds and creating textures that are significantly interesting and making something that's actually experimenting, not just like sort of doing the bare minimum because you're not held to the standards of pop music.
mm.
That's where I'd be careful. Not to get too excited about if I make experimental music and I brand it as that, I don't have to have any sort of constraints or quality standards, right? There's quality standards in every genre to make something that's actually interesting and different and unique and listenable, which you did say, how can you make it more listenable? I guess my question would be, do you mean more listenable as in like catchy and like having that sort of structural, pop-ish element while having weird sounds? Or do you want something that's even weirder and more experimental, but is mixed better and more listenable in that way? Because, listenable can be used in both contexts for either content arrangement or for production.
Yeah.
That's kind of a question. He said, well, I already struggle a bit with making sounds that sound nice. Okay. I've had to EQ quite a bit as I resubmitted this because of having made it a little better. I honestly, my biggest critique, probably from the mixing standpoint, and maybe overall, is that it's just all mid range, kind of, right? I mean,
Mhm.
it's like all mid range except for that bass that sounds like it's underwater or like
Mhm,
behind club
mhm,
doors.
mhm.
Yeah, and it just doesn't feel well balanced. It just kind of feels narrow. I don't feel like you're doing much with the stereo spectrum to sort of separate things out. I don't think the way the instruments are mixed gives them the ability to have like separation or like any sort of nuance or intricate detail because there's not enough like sparkly high end on anything. It's all kind of just a wash of like mid range stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
and where there could be room for that, right? Like, the distorted guitar should have some sparkly, like, high ends to
it's a
it, right?
synth apparently.
Either way, it sounds like a guitar, and so
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
another
it's
thing where it's like,
distorted.
is this experimental? Like, is very reminiscent to me of a song called "Bleed It Out" by Linkin Park that has, like, a
Hmm.
distorted guitar line that's, like, repeated a lot. There's a guy rapping over it, so it's not too, um repetitive, and it like evolves into a full song. Like, you should listen to that if you don't know it. It's fantastic. Um, but yeah, like, a question. Then we could go into it for content because right now we're on vibes. Like, I'm not sure how. If one, what was the question is how experimental do you want to be? Is it in terms of sound design and production, or I guess like melodic design, melodic writing, songwriting, whatever. I would argue in both cases, this isn't very quote unquote experimental. You know, it sounds kind of at the basic stage. Like, there's some cool timbres that are going on, but like it's kind of like a classic breakbeat set, and it might be a synth, not a guitar, but it sounds like an electric guitar, which is very common, right? So that's what I'm kind of hearing right now, and I guess we can kind of go into our categories here, but that's like our first impressions, our vibes. It's definitely not done yet. It is an intro. Um, the ending's abrupt, so it depends on how you're going to transfer to the next song. What are you introducing? All that. But yeah, that's kind of our initial vibes. Do you want to say anything else before we give a score?
Well, here's something interesting. So he's talking about the premise to this song is being like in a dark room and there's someone being tortured and mocked by someone else.
Oh yeah, this guy's on that freaky shit.
Yeah,
Anyways,
some lyrics written but not added them yet. As the
oh,
intro is quite basic. So
there's some lyrics. Okay,
that could help. I think we've
yeah,
maybe gotten one from you before. Like I'm not getting too excited, honestly, because I think we've gotten tracks, correct me if I'm wrong, from you before that had
we
like
have.
lyrics.
They've sounded better than this
Yeah, that
for
was like
sure.
more of a complete track, but where it felt like I still don't know what the song is about. Like, even if there are lyrics, either they're like not intelligible or like they don't paint this intricate, deep picture that you're talking about with like torture in a dark room and all this stuff. I would caution, do not, well, I would just suggest don't get too caught in your head when you're kind of rationalizing your production decisions. It's always about, if I were the listener and I wasn't in my head, if I didn't have any context to this backstory, would I get it? Would I get
Mhm,
something out of it? Would I understand the story or the vibe at all? This
mhm,
doesn't really strike me instrumentally as like somebody being tortured and mocked in a dark room,
mhm.
right? So if your
It's one of those
first,
obscure torture questions where it's like, would you stay in a room and listen to one song for 1 month, 24 hours a day? It's like kind of a weird like that's this song would be the song that's playing in that room, but I don't think that's what you're going for.
it
So,
doesn't sound like someone's,
no.
it's not dark. It's the sort of bouncy bass is almost like a little bit happy,
Yeah, it's
like
almost like doom did doom din doom did doom.
yeah, I
Yeah, like
didn't get any like dark vibes of somebody in pain at all.
yeah.
It's very much just like kind
And
of random
honestly,
shit put together in a DAW, honestly,
yeah,
from a
honestly,
listener's
that
perspective.
that octave bass line was very reminiscent of the whoa 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 whoa. Whoa. You know that song? In the
Yeah,
beginning, it goes like doom doom, and that's like a happy like I'm in a stadium song cheering for a soccer team not being tortured. So
yeah.
yeah,
So I don't know.
um,
I mean, it's just again, like would be very careful to not rationalize your own stuff being like good enough before you've tried to do everything you can to improve that end listener experience as much as you possibly could,
hmm,
right? So like you need to like separate yourself from the concepts and abstract ideas that you've built into your mental model of the thing you're creating and just think, is it good enough if I'm a random listener on the street who knows nothing about this?
mhm,
And also like going and listening to reference tracks, find the best stuff or the most successful, your favorite in this genre, and be really honest with yourself on like a good speaker system. Does it sound like similarly mixed? Does it sound as good? Am I getting as much of that journey out of it as something else that's similar? You just have to be really like honest and critical with yourself from an outside perspective. There's this concept that like as a writer or a creator, you can't be successful unless you can turn off your writer self in order to be like the reader self or the listener, and then give yourself critique and then go back and create and have that cycle of on and off, take place.
mhm.
Otherwise you're just going to be creating stuff that you convince yourself is good when it's actually like not really valuable to anyone.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
he
just,
says, "Oh shit, I know what song you're talking about. That's something to think about." So check it out, bro. You said you wanted to make experimental. I just like gave you two songs that both of your stuff is from, right?
yeah,
And those two artists weren't trying to. Well, one's like techno, and I mean it's mainstream now. Maybe it was probably I don't know if it was revolutionary at its time, but it was probably a part of like a subculture, of like techno that wasn't super huge at the time. And Linkin Park, obviously, they're super mainstream. So those two songs now are super mainstream and recognized so in 2024. And the fact that I was like, that sounds like that one, and that sounds like that one. I don't think I would say that's experimental. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So, anyways, we've yapped a lot. Let's give a vibe score, bro.
yes.
All right,
It's fine to give the feedback up front and then just assign scores.
for sure, for sure. I'm just trying to keep the show rolling.
Yes.
Um, let's
Let's
see.
see vibes.
All right, you got a score?
Yeah, I do.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I feel like I was being a little bit generous.
Sure.
I mean, it's kind of just hard to calibrate on the very first track.
For
But
sure.
all right,
Look, I think it's definitely something you need to develop on. I gave you 9% above the straight develop because I do like elements of it. And I've heard stuff that you've done before. I know you can get pretty intricate with the drums and pretty spicy with it. So
yeah.
that's cool. I'm not endorsing torture, but hey, man, like everybody's got their own thing, I guess. I would agree with the Hibs. You probably need some light, but it's okay. Music is a place for all sorts of expression. So I would like to hear how you build it going forward. But yeah, let's go to the next one. Content. What do you got?
He said, my idea still stands, but I don't really make music for others. Mainly, sounds is fine, all right to listen to. Okay, grammar, but also like, why are you submitting it for feedback then?
Mhm.
Right? Like, if it's only for you and you don't
No, he says I get
care.
all the feedback. It's pretty dang valid.
Okay. But like, what's the purpose of feedback for you, I guess is the question. So if you're not making music for others, you just want something that is better for you to listen to, but then shouldn't you be the decider of if it's good enough for you to listen to? Like,
You probably have an understanding of like this doesn't sound like how I want it to sound like. Is that correct?
yeah, is there something that you think you can describe about it that you're not happy with at this point?
Mhm. Yeah. Like, are the why is one? Here's some questions I had when I was first started out. Why is my song quieter than everything else? Why
Yeah.
does my song sound like it's going through like a filter, and everything else sounds so crystal clear? Um, why does my drums not punch through like everybody else's? Like, those are all questions that we could like. If you had those questions for us, we could try to answer because. I feel like at least I've figured out the answers to those three questions over my time of experience, and I'm sure Josh can give you a dissertation on each one of those. So it's like that's what we're here for, you know?
This is interesting. He said, I still want the idea of seeing where I'm objectively wrong because I still don't really have experience to properly make it. I keep having the same issue with most of it, like being in the mid range. I'd still like to figure that issue out. Yeah, so I mean, it's valid to want to figure out the mid range thing, but I'm like, why don't you just do some EQ and make sure there's not too much mid range stuff happening?
Well,
If
so
you already
that
know
if
that,
we should zoom that out, right? Like it's like there's probably a lot of mid-range buildup because every single instrument that you're putting in probably has some mid-range to it, but you have to
yeah,
see like,
yeah,
hey, is that mid-range EQ like is that important to the sound of the essence of the sound? If not, if you leave all of the mid-range for every single instrument in, it's going to build up naturally.
yeah,
So when you're EQing something, instead of boosting, you should subtract like everything that's not important to the sound, or else you're going to have buildup. For me particularly, it was in low end. Like everything has like a wide frequency like spectrum sound to it.
yeah,
But if you want to be like putting 30 cents in a song and they all have this huge like spectrum associated with it when really they're only important in one little band, you can get rid of all of the other stuff except for that band for that specific track, that specific synth. Do that for all the different tracks and you'll have a much clearer sounding mix immediately. I don't know if you're doing that. So
well, also sometimes sounds are not broad spectrum, especially when you're in the electronic domain. And if
yep.
you're just adding a bunch of mid-rangey synths or mid-rangey, like various instruments that have mid-range, then maybe you need to get rid of one entirely to make other things have a voice and some room to breathe. It's not always that you're just like going to get a broad spectrum and then do a bunch of EQ. If you're putting things that are all like only in the mid range on top of each other, you got to make choices. You got to make hard choices to eliminate elements, right? I think I'm maybe figuring out where you're coming from also because you said that you've tried to do like EQ stuff, but then that you said that still sounds really odd. I
Mhm.
feel like, and this could be wrong, but I feel like it might be that you are getting immediately attached to the things that you're creating. And when you make changes that are too drastic, it feels wrong because you're already attached to the earlier version of that. So I would suggest, again, it's a mindset shift about uh, being critical and being a listener rather than being the creator and tied to the thing that's your baby that you've just worked on. And try to let yourself disagree with your own opinion that it sounds weird when you make a drastic change.
Mhm.
Step away from the project for a while so you can like refresh your perspective and then see if it sounds good when you come back. It
Mhm.
could just be that you're not used to making drastic mixing changes, and that is like jarring your idea of what's good and if it sounds like the original thing or what you had in mind. You said I do take days off to clear my mind from hearing the same thing, but even then I go back and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I mean,
You
I
have to
was gonna
formulate
ask.
the questions. You got to be more specific. You can't come in here and say, "I don't know what to do."
Yeah, it's
Like
true.
we're giving you problems, and you kind of like shot down each one. It's like, wait. Each one of those problems, like too much mid range. That's something you could like Google. That's something you could go into YouTube and be like, how do I EQ effectively for a clearer master or something, you
Yeah,
know? Or like I said, I like your drums, but I think they could punch through better. Go to YouTube. How do I make my drums punchy? Something like that.
yeah,
Like so you like what might be hard is like as a whole you're like I know this is not what I'm wanting. What you have to break it down by each thing. Like what do I want, and then how can I get that? Like what's the right question to ask, and then search it. And like you if you don't know the questions that you can ask, that's why you can come and ask us, and we give you a laundry list. Like hey, the drums need to be punchier. There's way too much mid range. The uh the melody lines are very simple. Like all of those are like critiques we're giving you that you can go Google and be like, how do I make this better? You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
true.
So yeah, we're I love discussing with this, but we have other people too. So like,
Yes.
content. Do you want to say anything before you give a score?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's the same bucket. It's just like I don't really know. I'm not getting the message out of it that you're saying. I'm not even getting a vibe that is close to the message that you're saying is supposed to be
Mhm.
embedded in the track. So like even outside of the mixing stuff, I think you just need to maybe do more research with finding the right sounds to use before you just slap them in there, right? Like really think critically with every layer that you try to find or create. Does this make sense for the picture that I'm trying to paint? And does it also fit with the other elements that I have in my track? Like you might listen to this bass part on Splice or whatever, or you might try to create it or have some loop, and then you're like that, yeah, that seems like it makes sense for what I'm trying to portray, and then you put it into the track and it sounds bad or it doesn't make sense with the other layers, it's clashing. Just get rid of it. Like again, you got to like have less attachment to the things you're creating and be willing to iterate. Like
Mhm.
try something different, experiment, try
Mhm.
something totally different,
Mhm.
delete layers, delete whole sections, delete the whole idea.
Mhm.
Like you got to be willing to throw shit out, not get attached. Don't say this is my baby. It's this genius creation about someone being tortured in a dark room.
Right.
Be honest with yourself. It doesn't sound like that, right?
And Gorange also, like, I feel like all the feedback we've given you still doesn't compromise on that vision. Like
Yeah, you
having
can.
having harder hitting drums and a grittier sounding mix, and one that's not crowded in the mid range. That would all still, I feel like, be compatible with your imagery of someone being tortured. Like that's an intense scene, a dark scene.
Yeah.
All of those would make sense, right? So, anyways, what's up, Nerid?
Well,
If you want to submit your song, we have an open queue. Use that website, upload your track, and we'll get to it momentarily.
I was gonna say like the thing I would.
We got hollow points in Kai Trevor's submission, by the way.
Oh yeah, we've got 4 in the queue. Nice.
Shout out, y'all.
Um, I was gonna say I want to hear what you're describing, right? Like I want to hear you submit this track that's like experimental and about this dark, picture or whatever. Um, so I'm not saying that your idea is bad, but you just have to be a little bit more willing to like take risks, kind of actually experiment, right? But also stay in line with your vision and try to see it from an outside perspective and not so much of like an attached perspective to the thing that you've created. I think you'll have more fun when you have a little bit more flexibility with stuff like that. You'll learn a lot faster because you'll be more honest with things that you're not doing right at this moment in time. And you'll get farther if you're like willing to learn and try new things.
Yeet. Cool. All
So
right,
content scores.
let's get voting. Yeah, I already talked about. I think the composition wise, the guitar, it sounds like Bleed It Out. It doesn't sound very interesting. It doesn't change. I got bored of it after 20 seconds. And
Yeah.
same with the bass line. It's just octaves. Also reminiscent of another song.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't get the imagery yet at all. You said you have lyrics. That'll probably help. So
Yeah. True.
I like the drums. Other than that, that's what I have for content as a blurb, as a summary. So I have a score. Do you?
I think my biggest advice, single piece of advice for why this doesn't sound like a person in a tortured room, is probably that bass line. I think the
Hmm.
bass line, I mean, partly
It sounds goofy.
production
Yeah,
wise, but just, yeah, it sounds a little bit goofy. So that might be something to look into changing. That could change the vibe of the track like very significantly.
for sure. All right, ready?
Yep.
Three, two, one.
Yeah, I gave bonus points for the idea and because something else might bring my score more in line with vibes.
Sure. Production.
Yeah, I mean it's just there's no separation between instruments. You should definitely be using the stereo field more to do that. The bass is inconsistent. It just feels detached from the rest of the track because it's this really deep, sort of low pass bass thing, and then all the mid rangey parts. You just gotta like clean up layers, clean up the mid range stuff. Don't use samples that are trash quality. That's
Mhm.
another thing.
Yeah,
Um,
start with good materials, right?
yeah, you got to be more scrutinous with this stuff. Don't
Yeah, bro.
just
If you're
like,
if you're a cook, can you get the worst cut of
yeah,
beef? You know, you're
you're
not
like,
gonna make
well,
the greatest steak. You know.
where's the fastest place for me to get this cut of meat or whatever? And it's like
Yeah.
if you find it at the local like 7-Eleven
Mm-hmm.
because it's easier and faster, like you're not going to have as good of an end result. So
Yep.
important to do your shopping wisely.
Yep. Cool,
Um,
y'all. Yeah, well, I've said enough on production. You have a score?
yep.
Three, two, one. Cool.
So you're between redo and develop.
Yes.
Cool.
And track total. You got a score?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Buh, buh, buh.
Nice. So
I'll
yeah,
give
I
you
mean,
that point because I do. I've heard what you had before. I know you can get grittier.
mhm.
And I liked some stuff of it, but it needs a lot of work for sure.
Yeah, I mean, excited for you to like figure out your voice more and to like. I think once you do, you'll also be like, oh my god, why was I like resisting myself from getting better at this and making these changes and going further with the craft? And you'll be thankful that you did once you do. I think.
Pure Brie Jesus. Yeah, our rating system is weird. It's not a 9% total. Like,
It's
yeah.
between develop. There's three steps. It's redo, develop, and good to go.
Mhm.
So that 9%, for instance, is 9% between develop and good to go.
Yeah, so I
But
would say, like, just to totally mischaracterize the scale, yellow is like a 50%. So 9 is like a 59%. Does that make sense?
well,
It's
I was gonna
kind of like
say
that, but
we
yeah,
could honestly, if we wanted to, we could potentially like restructure the scale
we could.
so that. But yeah, we'll have to see about that. But
Right, right,
anyways,
right. Yeah, our scale's dumb and we should feel dumb, but we did it for a reason. And yeah, maybe I think this is your first time, right? So welcome. I hope that you submitted as well. If you did, let us know. I have Hib, which shout out to Hib. He's next. We got Hollow Points. We got Kai Trevor. I don't know if I see you, Bree, but let us know. We have one more spot basically. And guys, that's the order that it was submitted in. So that's what we'll do. Unless you guys want to tip, you could skip the line, $5 minimum. That'll get you in next. Let us know if you're going to do that. Use the same website, and we'll get you in because some people have deadlines. Some people appreciate us as well and want to give us a little bit of kickback. But yeah, up to you. Hollow points. All right, fire. All right, cool. I appreciate you, Gorange. And reply to my SoundCloud, please. Don't be harsh to me. All right. All right, cool.
yeah, we
Thank you, man.
should mention since we've got some folks here.
Yep.
Welcome to the stream. We do very detailed feedback and try to give you useful advice for making your tracks better. You know, hopefully achieving your vision or getting more fans. So that's what we try to do. But behind the scenes, we also have been building a sort of fully featured collaboration platform to help you make music better and more easily and faster, which is called FastTrack. It's on this platform. And if you've signed up for feedback, it looks like everyone here actually does have an account already. At some point, we'll be letting people off the waitlist. If you want to get let off the waitlist to use these features immediately, you can literally just hit us up. You can hit us up on our Instagrams, the fasttrack_music one up there, or our Discord, which we'll put in the chat too,
Mhm.
and just tell us that you want access. We might like schedule a call with you just to see how we can help you, like what features are useful, what feature ideas you have, etc. But
Mhm.
right now, you can create your own team, so you can add all of your collaborators to it. You can give people roles, so you know like who's the songwriter, who's the artist, who's the session player, whatever it is, and
Mhm.
then you can create projects, and those projects can have tracks which have versions underneath them. So as you work on each track, you can upload the versions, and then your collaborators get notified. They can see those, listen to them on their devices. They can
Timestamp
leave
comments.
timestamped comments,
Mhm.
which is super useful, and then also create tasks that can be assigned to people. They can have deadlines. Everyone gets notifications based on those as well, so you can like get the work done that you need to hit your release milestones and ultimately getting your music out there. So that's what we're building. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. We're building a mobile app, probably a desktop app that will sync your music automatically to Fast Track to make it even faster, and maybe some interesting AI features as well. But
Yeah.
we'd love to hear your opinion on what you want to see, what would be most useful. And yeah, there's a product right now that's in closed beta. So if you want to get into the beta, just hit us up and we'll get you right in.
Beta. All right, cool. Next song,
Yes, sir.
Peace in the Holy Land. Do you want to give them a breakdown here?
Yeah. So you got Peace in the Holy Land submitted by Hib.
Amen, brother.
Just the track artist, he just put S. I don't know if that was a mistake or if the track artist is actually just S.
Mhm.
um, but you were the composer and beatmaker, and the genres are electronic, world, and experimental. Two experimental tracks so
Here
far.
we go, bro.
Interesting. He said, or they said, want this to be my first release on SoundCloud because of the political issues over the Holy Land. Oh, very emotional about what's going on. So I try to make soldiers dance and forget about killing each other. Oh, God.
Damn.
Tired of mixing it, so I think I'll release it anyways. Okay.
We'll
Very
see if the
interesting.
mix is. You gave it to us. You haven't released it yet. We'll see if we have big critiques.
And it looks like
But
you've
yeah,
got some AI album art there, huh?
is that AI? Looks pretty good. It does have that taste of AI to it, though.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Um, Also, somebody, not Hollow Points, but I think somebody removed their submission. So we've got another spot in the queue, or maybe you're trying to submit a different song or something. But
Oh
yeah, we've
yeah,
got
who's
two
that?
more free spots in the queue for today. So if anybody wants to get reviewed, just pop it in there.
Yeet. All right, ready?
Yep, let's do
Let's
it.
do it. 3, 2, 1. Dancing soldier type beat.
Good stereo whip.
Yeah, nice clarity.
It's a little bit bright overall. That's cool.
Nice. Fire, David.
Nice tight bass.
Cool strings.
Got a good groove too. A little bit of variation in the second like drop.
Oh yeah. Little dissonant lines there too.
You're a bit of a groove master, huh?
A little repetitive. Nice violin.
Cool. That's a
Nice.
long fade though. There's like 20 seconds of fade.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a small detail, doesn't really matter.
Cool.
But nice.
Thanks for that. Appreciate that, Hibbs. What do you got? Five's first impressions.
It sounds good. I mean, despite having like the sort of Middle Eastern flair on it,
Mhm.
it's very much a like pop groove, just the way that it's structured, like the way that all the rhythmic stuff locks together, the percussion is really good. Your
Yep.
transitions are great.
Mhm.
It's really enjoyable to listen to.
Yep.
And I think the groove is kind of the core thing of that, which is not easy to get right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. I think the only hit to it really is that it's a bit repetitive, kind of
Yep.
like even after maybe a minute or so, it feels pretty repetitive,
Yep.
especially with those strings. Um, it's a little bit bright on the bright side, especially during some of the verses or like not drop parts, particularly towards the beginning.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, then when the bass comes in, it sounds pretty, well mixed. It's like a pretty tight bass sound.
Mm.
I don't think it has a ton of like low end overall. Like it's
Nope.
still pretty light
Sounds
on
like
the
it's
low
just
end.
the bass line that's just hanging out there by itself,
Yeah,
nice and
yeah.
clear.
It's
But
clear. It's very clear. But it doesn't have a lot of like oomph or body to it.
nope.
The whole thing kind of feels like it's up here a little bit when
Mm-hmm.
it'd be better if it was like sort of straight across.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. But
Yup.
yeah, I'm curious. Maybe you can answer. I was actually curious for Orange too, but like, what system are you mixing on? Like, what type of speakers or headphones? And are you in like a small room, big room? Like, just curious because that could be the reason why there's a lot of high end and not enough bass is because of your listening conditions. Just curious to know that. Ableton's your DAW, okay, but what about like which speakers? What size are they? Momentum Sennheiser 3 headphone. Ah, there we go. That's the answer. I mean, so you've got great stereo spacing, which is cool. We are also listening on headphones, so it'd probably be a good idea to cross check with actual speakers to make sure that there's no like stereo phase cancellation that you wouldn't hear with headphones, or anything else weird with the stereo field. Doesn't sound like it to me, but yeah, I think the headphones, especially Sennheisers, are probably a little bit more bass heavy than some other comparable ones, and you're gonna
Oh,
not have the most.
KRK rockets are also very bass heavy.
Yeah, can't use it because the neighbors. Yeah, so I would be very careful. Maybe you can get like a headphone like emulation, like DSP, where you could modulate the frequency response of those headphones to be more flat. That might help you a lot, actually. There's software for that, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's tough when the headphones probably have a good amount of low end, and maybe the way that you're hearing it, there could be blind spots with the high end and the high mids that are causing you to overcompensate there too. I would suggest looking up like a frequency response chart for your headphones and comparing it to like some industry standard like Yamaha HS whatever's HS5s,
Yeah.
HS7s,
Mhm.
and just see how not flat it is compared to those. That might help you understand where there's blind spots. But yeah, what do you think? First impressions?
Well, I agree with everything you said. I think it's groovy. I think it's fire. I don't know if I call it experimental. I feel like there's a lot of songs that are like this, like a kind of clubby, kind of Middle Eastern feel to it. I feel like I would hear this at my like Palestinian friends' weddings that I've been to, like songs that'll make you clap, clap in a circle and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think this fits kind of well in that kind of genre.
Hmm.
I do agree though that my biggest gripe is that it's a little repetitive. I feel like once I heard the first minute, I heard it all.
Yeah.
Um, and that's kind of hard to do if you don't have like a vocalist to kind of go with this track. You have that sample of the lady that she's singing, but she says the same thing, and she might be saying something, but even if she is, it sounds like it's like one or two words, so it can't be that much of a compelling story. But I think you're just trying to make a dance track at this point. That's what you're saying. Um, so yeah, just keep that into consideration. I think you said you're mostly at the stage of mixing and mastering too. So listen to what Josh was saying. Like, yeah, in the beginning, it's a little bit high or bright, but I mean, there's like no bass line or anything that's happening in those parts really, and that's like the only thing that's down there. So that might be a natural consequence. But I think as a mix, as a whole, I thought it sounded pretty decent, especially when the drops in there. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy about this track. I think you did a good job. But
Hmm.
there's always something to improve on. It's up to you if you want to take it. So, um, shalom alaikum. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Shouts out to you, bro. And is this AI album art? Did we get it right?
It's
Because
got.
there's like the cards there that look pretty straight and narrow, and like I don't know. So
It's true.
yeah, but okay. You have a vibe score?
Yes.
All right, three, two, one. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah. I ain't mad at it at all. Content. What do you got?
Yeah, content. I mean, again, the groove is definitely deserves credit.
Mhm.
He's Bing AI drawing. Wow,
Wild. Yeah.
that's surprising actually.
I guess
I
it's
mean, it's just
GPT, isn't it?
Microsoft, yeah, but they've like historically neutered all the Bing stuff, so it doesn't perform as well as like real OpenAI. But that's good. Looks good.
Mm-mm.
But anyways, yeah, content. The groove is great. A lot of the instruments sound like realistic and good. I would say. It's just a little bit repetitive, and there's not a lot of like variation with, especially like the vocalist, I guess, and some of those string parts are pretty repetitive. But
Yup.
overall, it's well composed. I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say so too. It's just gets repetitive after a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my only critique. So got a score?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Baba boy.
Boom. Nice.
Production.
And then yeah, production again. It's just like a little anemic in the bass and a little bit bright and crowded in the highs and upper mids. But
Mhm.
overall, it's like decently balanced. Other than that, although those are pretty important things.
Yeah, we here at FastTrack do like thick low ends. So just to let you guys know, let's put it out there. It's there. But yeah, otherwise, great use of stereo spacing. It's very clear mix wise. I thought everything sounded pretty well balanced. Yeah, the bass line kind of was just hanging out down there by itself, and it was kind of like in a higher low frequency. So, but yeah, that's all I have to say. Production. You want to give a score?
Yeah, I've got a score.
3, 2, 1. Ba-ba-boo. Yeah. Track total.
Cool. Track total. Okay. Yeah, I've got a score.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Make me out to be the bad guy here. Need to add a sub.
Good cop,
Okay.
bad cop.
Would be fire. Yeah. Cool. That was great.
Nice.
2 experimental songs in a row. Let's see what else is there.
Yeah.
We got Hollow Points also in the chat. Shout out Brexit. I've been calling them Brie like an idiot. Brexit's in the name, so I don't want to get too political here. We got freaking Brexit. We got the Middle East Holy Land fight. The end times.
We got Nokia.
We got Nokia, yeah, and torture apparently.
Yeah, torture. That's true.
So,
wow, what an interesting day.
What up, Brexit Giza? Then it's me, Nee Rid. That's right. You got something political for us? Let's get canceled. Next guy's gonna enter the Discord. Fire! Do it, y'all.
Nice.
Be like him. Cool. Do you want to give the introduction for this?
Yep. So we've got "Trying to Catch My Breath" by Hollow Points. He is the, or they are the producer and production assistant, which is interesting. I feel like the production assistant is just a cheeky reference to that you help yourself be the producer.
Real.
But the
He
genres
just got a clone,
are
dude. I don't know.
maybe genres are boom bap and sample flip.
Boom bap.
Nice.
All right. And they want feedback specifically on the mixing.
Mixing, yes.
Okay, cool. Anything else? I mean, you're in the chat. Let us know.
Yeah.
Cool. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Like old school Kanye feel.
I knew you'd say that.
Doesn't it sound like it?
A little bit, yeah.
Like graduation type beat, a little dissonant. Little Chris, dude. That's it. That's a Kanye sample. Go to sleep time. Trying to catch my breath. I get it.
I thought it was gonna go somewhere a little bit more by now. I thought that was like an intro.
It switched.
No, I know, but I thought it was gonna like stop repeating over and over.
Yeah, switch to something else maybe.
This does feel like a sample flip.
It feels like a chromatic scale too. It's got a feel like old school, almost breaks. Kind of feels good, like breakdancing kind of music.
Yeah,
a little slow for it, but. Yeah, Yeah, I feel like I'd want to speed this one up a little.
Hmm.
That'd be cool. Them sound pretty good.
Okay, a little bit awkward here.
Are you gonna get a rapper on this?
I think you need one.
Yeah. Come on, bro. You're not looking hard enough. They're everywhere.
Yeah, what do you mean? They're literally everywhere.
Yeah. I got a W problem with that. That L problem, bro. Interesting
Interesting.
noise there.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's pretty fire. Pretty unique. You got a unique sound to you. Shout out Brexit. I shouldn't say that.
Shut Brexit.
I have
I
no
don't think
implications
anybody was
for the
really that
political
hurt by
stage there.
Brexit. Well, I guess some people would probably be like, Brexit
There's
was
some
disastrous.
loonies. Yeah, there's some loonies out there, bro. They cry about elections and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
yeah. Shout out pure Brexit Giza. What do you got? Vibes, first impressions.
Um, it's cool. I mean, I definitely halfway through was like, oh yeah, okay, this definitely feels like a sample flip thing where
Yeah,
it's
this is
almost
a
like,
type beat. This is
yeah,
waiting for a rapper.
it feels
Even
like. I
then,
mean,
the rapper has to kind of do overtime to kind of carry this into a song. I feel
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
so.
definitely. But I mean, it kind of feels like you were given 2 to 3 samples, and you had to like make entire sections just crafted around those samples.
You had to do it in
Just
like 48 hours too, or something.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
very quick, like
yeah.
24 maybe.
Just given how much they repeat, right? So you've got like super short bars, like a 1 bar thing or like a 2 bar thing, repeated over and over. It's like kind of cool. Like the vibe
Yeah,
is kind of
it's
there,
pretty
but
cool.
on its own, it definitely either needs like a rapper or it just needs to be a little bit less low effort sounding. Like not to be
Yeah,
offensive, but it just does sound like a lot of very short loops, kind of repeated the whole time.
yeah. The samples themselves don't really evolve into anything, right?
Yeah, there's not a
It's
lot
just
of
kind of they're just kind of repeating, and like you did a beat switch up once, I think, and it was like Ludacris going breathe in, breathe out for like 32 bars.
yeah.
So yeah, mixing wise, I thought it was pretty nice sounding though, to be honest.
Hmm.
But very sparkly, very kind of reminiscent of older kind of breakdancing music, but a little slowed down. I got a little bit of Kanye graduation, a little bit, but even more old sounding.
Hmm.
It's just got that sparkle to it. It's very nice. The drums sound very bumping. Um, yeah, I think my critique's mostly on the kind of content of it, but yeah, I just submitted for the beta. Fire, we'll get you in, bro.
I was
We'll
gonna
talk that
say
video.
the wait list honestly will take a while to like get you into. If you're really like excited about it and you want to try the product immediately,
Just
just hit
DM.
us up. Just send us a message. Yeah.
Yeah, DM me on Instagram. I'll
Yeah.
answer. I promise. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to give a vibe score?
Yeah.
And are you looking for rappers? Because you said you can't find them, and they're everywhere, man. Like they're everywhere. I don't know how you're looking. So vibes. Okay. I have a score. Do you?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
I was gonna do that. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna.
bro. Come on. Come on. Come on down. Come on down. Gravity, baby.
Yep.
Oh shit.
It's not. There
I
we
got
go.
on the wrong page. Yeah. Content. What do you have?
Um, content. I mean, we kind of talked about like it's you've got some good source material. It is a little bit basic and a little bit repetitive. And I think you need a rapper. But like, it's cool. It's got good vibes. And decent structure overall. But I would say like, what was it? It was like almost a minute in maybe that I was like hoping it would have changed to a sort of different vibe sooner, but it
Yep.
just kept looping the same stuff for a good like 30, 40 seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree here. A lot of beats are kind of repetitive. Not gonna lie. Well,
Yeah.
the good beats, one, if they are repetitive, the loop itself is really good.
Yeah, exactly.
You have decent loop, but on like, and I made a comment like it sounds like a chromatic scale. It doesn't really sound like it's something that would be catchy.
Yeah.
In my head, it's not an earworm. It's cool. Like there's like a cool like whole orchestration and bass line that's going like with each other, but they don't evolve into anything. Like for that kind of weird chromatic kind of style you're going for, I feel like it has to be a part of a bigger picture that you're drawing, where it's not.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
some of the more just if it's repetitive, the beat's going to be really earwormy, where like people want to listen to it over and over again, right? It doesn't need to evolve into something else. Um, and like they'd have a rapper on it, and like you don't have either of those, so that's like why we're kind of struggling with it. That's true. Soul beats, dark trap. I don't know what soul beat. Well, okay, yeah. I mean, dark trap is like the now, I guess, and then soul beats was like a decade ago, and then what you're doing is like 2 decades ago. But there's like all sorts of old head kind of rappers that are doing their stuff. They might be a little bit hard to find. My question is where you're looking. You know, are you just talking to your friends who are rappers? Like, yeah, that's probably why. But like, you can look everywhere. Oh, I know my own beats are repetitive. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
Chris, you should just hop on it.
yeah. Maybe we'll see.
Said you
I
might
like
want to cut it
aspects
up.
of it, but
Yeah.
yeah. Ken, update your Insta tag. Our PhD guy. Yeah, you're right. My bad. My bad. That's our fault. My Instagram tag changed.
Oh, on here, yeah.
Call me out, bro. I didn't give you that one. I gave you the fast track one. DM me there.
Yeah.
But you could DM me there too. I don't mind. But it sounds like you found me. Um, cool. Anyways, yeah, content. Yeah, that goes into that. Drum that the loops. I think that being said, though, I do think the loops are cool. They just don't evolve into anything.
Yeah.
And they get repetitive. So yeah, you have a kind of a cool, unique style actually. Like so, play into that, and I hope that you can take our feedback, kind of in stride. Like develop your loop into like instead of a I think what this is like a 4 bar loop, maybe even two. Develop that, like double it, and like make it go into like a catchy kind of thing that we'd want to listen to over and over again. The
Yeah.
drums, I think you got it. The timbres and soundscape, I think you have it. The mixing, I think, is pretty good too. What I don't have is like the catchiness to want to come back to this. You know?
I sort of feel like it's this thing with looping where, like you said, the quality of the loop determines how long somebody can listen to it without getting annoyed. I think even the best loop you can't play in front of somebody for forever because
Mhm.
eventually it's going to get annoying. But if you have a really great loop that has so little friction that you can get away with playing it for 3 minutes straight, then that's a great song, right?
Mhm.
But if there's like a little 5% difference in like how smooth the transition is between each loop, for instance, just like not quite catchy or there's a little bit of awkwardness, and so that awkwardness is repeated like 50 times or
Mhm.
something, it's just not passable. So it's really like not telling you can't loop things, but you have to place so much scrutiny on making sure that loop is perfect as it can be, so that people don't get pissed off within that 2 to 3 minute window.
Yep. Yep. Cool. You have a score?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Cool.
Production.
Um, yeah, I think the production is okay.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it's pretty good. I don't know if I have too many qualms with it, to be
yeah,
honest.
sounds
It's, u-
pretty good.
sounds unique.
The
Very
one thing that
bright. I like
annoyed
it.
me a little bit is I think let me try to see if it's here.
It's like refreshing.
That's the break.
Bro, try speeding this up. It might be cool.
Another break. Okay, I think the snare in those parts is getting a little bit lost because there's some other instruments that are on like the exact same beat, and
Mhm.
I think are kind of in that mid-rangey area. So like when you've got nothing hindering the snare, it sounds great, but when you've got these other like synthy parts or whatever they are on the exact same beat as that snare, it gets a little bit lost and a little bit sort of splashed out, in my opinion. But overall, it sounds good otherwise.
Yeah, I think it's pretty strong.
Hmm.
You have anything else?
Nope.
All right, production. 3, 2, 1.
Cool.
Track total.
Okay, I've got a track total.
Yeah, me too. 3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Bow.
Cool.
Yeah, decent. I like your style, man. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Want to hear
Good vibe.
more? And yeah, I don't know if you're gonna release this or improve upon it. We'd love to hear that too. You guys can always submit like newer versions of it. So um, we get that a lot actually. So
Mhm.
yeah, next is that was Hollow Points. This is Kai Trevor. Shout out to was it Nereed? Nereed? Yeah, Nereed. You're up, buddy.
I
Do you want
think
to go
you've
ahead and
submitted a couple times, either 2 or 3 times.
Oh, really?
But I'll push you to live. It sounds like you've been choosing versions or maybe working on it. I don't know. But
Sure. Let us
Fairy
know.
Dust by Kai Trevor. Um, Role artist, track genre indie, no description. But you said in the chat, I'm the vocalist and I mixed and mastered. I didn't make the beat. Good to know.
Vocalist, you mixed and mastered. I didn't make the beat. Okay. Is this like a type beat, or how'd you get it? Did you get the stems? We'll talk about it more. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Three, two,
Three,
one.
two, one.
Ooh, cool. Can't hear you. I like this a lot already.
7 days, 14 days, time taking too
A little bit of
long
clipping on the snare.
till I
I
see
mean
you.
the kick.
Don't want you to go, then you're gone. Out of my life, gone into your like some fairy dust. I'm trying to hold you, but I'm begging, baby, please. I don't want you to go. You're so close to my heart.
Nice voice.
Can't stand where we are apart. Doesn't matter if we're near or far. I'll fight for you till it's me and you. There's no one but us. I know time seems so tough, but it'll work in the end. Can you please take care of my baby? I don't wanna hear you cry, but we're losing this time. Well, you're the one I wanna see now. Oh, I feel like I've been training myself. Don't wanna feel like that I'm stuck on my own. 'Cause I wanna have you because you're the one that I love to need. Giving me a reason to finish out the mission. You're the one that helps me with discipline. But I'm sorry, sometimes I'm not even listening. I don't know how you want a piece of this. I'm a piece of shit, you ain't focusing. But I'm still moving. And you wanna help me through my past. Don't want you to go, then you're gone.
Vocals are a little bit ahead of the beat.
My life, gone in the air like some fairy dust. I'm trying to hold you, but I'm begging, baby, please. I don't want you to go. You're so close to my heart. Can't stand where we are apart. Doesn't matter if we're near or far. I'll fight for you till it's me and you. There's no one but us. I know time seems so tough, but it'll work in the end.
Nice.
Cool. Why the abrupt ending?
Yeah, it's also a lot of delay, and I was wondering if that delay has been on the whole time because I felt like there's just a lot like the vocal doesn't feel super focused mix wise. It kind of feels like it's like layered and there's like other effects going on. It just feels kind of like scattered.
Yep.
And I also felt like the vocal was a little bit ahead of the beat, like fairly often,
Mm-hmm.
which I just don't love as a stylistic thing. I like when it's cleaner and it's more like pop tracks where the vocals are perfectly placed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you know, to each their own. I mean, I think your vocal performance is great, and
Mm-hmm.
your the way you sound and everything. I don't think I really got many lyrics, but I wasn't really like paying attention to that primarily.
Yeah, that's my
Um,
biggest thing. I think.
yeah,
Yeah, I think, and I agree with the Hibs here, and
Mhm.
Josh too. Like, I think you're a good vocalist. I think you have a good voice.
Yeah,
I thought the harmonies were fantastic. I think you have an ear for melody.
yeah.
Um, the writing has some interesting flows to it. I think delivery wise, I feel like there's a bit of choppiness in your vocal, and there's many parts where I wish you hung out on that note at the end of a phrase, or
It
even like
sounds
these.
kind of rushed.
Yeah, like even these like longer, like you were talking about discipline, and you, I think you did like another listen in. Like it was a cool like multi-syllabic rhyme that you were singing, but the way that you were delivering it, it wasn't like a rapper would deliver it, and it wasn't like a singer would. A singer would be like much more smooth, and it doesn't sound like I could hear every rhythm of it. And a rapper would be like kind of emphasizing the rhythm a little bit. You were kind of in this weird in between, and it sounded kind of robotic and choppy almost. So, like, I'm kind of going in on this because I myself am a vocalist. I think you have a lot of talent, and I'd love to hear you kind of sharpen that a little bit because it sounds really good. Um, and I'd like to come to the next level. I think that kind of vocal kind of coaching would be um, better for your kind of enunciation, like because you're not you would be speaking it and singing it a little bit more naturally to where we can kind of pick up on more of the words. Whereas right now we're kind of thrown off by how maybe it's a little bit off the grid, like Josh was saying, it might be a little bit forward, and how it's just delivered so kind of unnaturally in some spaces. There's some parts where I think you did it really well. I wish I could like pinpoint those and give you kind of timestamps. Um, but yeah, maybe we'll jump around. But yeah, I'm impressed. I think the mixing sounded pretty decent too. I like it a lot. This is like you should check out one of my boys. His name is JR Juice on SoundCloud. He makes songs, not SoundCloud. He's on SoundCloud, Spotify, big boy shit. But he makes songs like this, and I think it's really cool. And so I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, that's my vibes. Do you have anything else?
No, pretty sweet.
Cool. All right. Let's give a score then. All right. You got a score?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Yep. Content.
By the way, he said I can fix the delay. The mix was super dry, so I had to give it something else. Okay, good to know. Can easily fix the vocals too. Can I
The
submit
delay
something that
might be contributing to the fact that we can't hear stuff either. Like it makes
could
it a
be
little bit unclear.
washes things out?
Yeah.
You said, can I submit something else too? I was going to mention we have space, a little bit of space for one or two more, probably one. So if anybody wants to submit who hasn't submitted yet, feel free to go ahead and do that, and you'll get into the free queue. Otherwise, what do you think, Chris?
Yeah. I mean, if you does it allow him to submit another one?
I think after we review it, it will.
Okay. Yeah. So after we review it, if nobody's in the queue and you put in a song again, like yeah, we have a hard stop at 6:30 Mountain Time. No, wait. Yeah, 6:30
Yes.
Mountain Time. Sorry, we're in different time zones right now.
Yeah.
Fucking me up. But yeah, so like once once that comes, we won't be accepting anymore, and we'll time it. So it'll probably be one more song after this review. So yeah, near it. If there's nobody else, you can drop your song in there. We'll do it. Otherwise, we won't. And that's kind of a rarity because we do so in-depth reviews. It's like 15 minutes per artist. So if we gave 2 songs to you, it'd be 30 minutes. That's like what is that 40% of the stream? That's like kind of ridiculous. We love your music, but it's like we got to give others a shot.
Gotta
So
be fair.
yeah, but yeah, like I like what I'm hearing so far. So yeah, to answer your question, just hang tight, and if nobody's there, like we'll do it. So
If it lets you submit now, you can try to.
yeah,
And either way, like if we don't review you today, then we can review it first on our next stream.
yeah, we'll definitely get to it. Like every song that's submitted in the queue, we get to eventually. It's just if somebody else comes in, we want to prioritize them.
Mhm.
Cool. Content. What else do you have?
Let's see, content. Yeah, I mean the track itself sounds pretty good. I think it's structured well.
Some of the
Um,
stuff that I did pick up, I thought sounded very interesting.
mhm,
So, and like I said, very cool, weird, intricate flows that like I wouldn't have expected from a genre like this. I
mhm.
just didn't hear a lot of it. Josh, would you say that there's like a volume? Would you want the vocals to be up in volume more, or do you, in terms of clarity, like do you think that doesn't solve the issue,
No,
or
I
it's
don't think
more
it's
so the
volume.
effects?
I think the vocals are actually pretty loud as it is.
I see.
I think it's more so that maybe they need a little bit of space carved out in the
I think
mix.
so. Yeah, I think so too.
And they need to have less of all the like crazy layering delay stuff that's kind of just smearing the image of the vocals.
I agree. Cool. Yeah, content else wise though, I like the beat a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with it. My thing was just the kind of performance on the vocal,
Yeah.
but it's still solid. So cool. You have a score?
Yes, I do.
3, 2, 1.
Sweet.
Production.
Yeah, and then production is pretty good. Let me just go back and listen again a little bit.
I'm trying to hold you, but I'm begging, baby, please. I don't wanna go. You're so close to
Yeah.
Hold
first
that
of
note
all-
out.
Yeah,
Hold
I
that
mean,
note out.
your
Baby
vocals-
play. Like dude, hold it out. Hold it out.
Yeah, I mean your vocals sound great, but I think the mix is a little bit crowded in the frequency range that your vocals are trying to grab too. So you might want to do some, subtle EQ
Scooping.
moves, do maybe a little bit of side chaining to the vocal to just get it to have its own hole in the mix to live in. Um, and what else? I mean, the distortion I think you mentioned doesn't sound like that was intentional, but yeah, your kick drum is distorting a lot every time, and it just feels like it's a mistake. It
I
doesn't
kind
feel
of
like
like it.
it's really like I knew you'd say that, but
I like it.
I think it sounds amateurish. If
I
you're
like it.
trying to, yes, because there is a whole genre of people that make amateurish music that we've all come to accept called SoundCloud.
Yes, that's
But
correct.
let me also show you this point when the second like drop comes in.
Giving me a
I
reason.
wish that bass and the kick were like clear there, but they were just like just like distorted out.
Mhm.
So that's a good example of a moment to like key against when you're trying to fix the issues across the mix. But yeah, what do you think about production?
I can agree with what you're saying. I will push back. There's levels to this shit in terms of like creative clipping that sounds really good. This
Yeah.
guy's not at that level. I'm thinking of like what's his name? I think William Crooks is his name.
Hmm.
The SoundCloud guy that like does, and I think there's a guy called Clipping. Fuck, I don't know. I'm being outed, but
Really
that guy Jr. Juice, like he puts me onto these guys, and he showed me what they do with clipping. It's like ridiculous. This is
cool.
just like, oh, I'll put a soft clipper and let it go through. Sometimes it gives it a little bit of an edgy kind of sound to it,
Mhm.
which yes, a lot of SoundCloud rappers do, and I like it. But Josh has a point.
It's an
So
acquired taste.
yeah, it is definitely an acquired taste for sure. So yeah, cool. But no, I think it sounds pretty decent. There's
Mhm.
always room to improve, but this is fine.
Yeah.
Cool. You have a score?
Yes, sir.
3, 2, 1.
Cool.
True rack a total.
Track total. Yeah, got a total.
3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty strong showing.
Yeah, it's good. I like
You'll
it.
fax it. We don't got a fax machine, bro.
You seem like
No,
a legit artist.
yeah, he sounded pretty good. Man, hold out those notes. Hold out
Uh
those notes.
oh, we've got competition here.
Rut
Looks like
row.
Hibbs has submitted another track.
Oh.
Uh oh.
All right, guys. There's two of you. There's only one spot left. Who? Oh, Hibbs is in. So Hibbs would
Hibbs is
be
in the
by
queue,
default. Yeah,
so we
Hibbs.
have to be fair to actual submissions. And we'll do Hibbs, but if you want to submit one,
He said, "Nah, I got
um,
it."
okay. If you want to submit one though and get
Oh
reviewed
yeah, for next
first
week.
next stream, then do
Yeah,
that. You'll
save
also
your spot.
you'll get an email like the day of that stream to let you know, hey, you're in the queue. This is your position in the queue. This is what time the stream is at, just in case you
Yeah, and you could
get into
switch
it.
out your track too. You could save your spot. It's up to you.
Yes. Yep.
But cool. Yeah, glad that we got to hear it, and can't
Yeah.
wait to hear
Thanks
more
for
from you.
submitting. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay,
And
Hibby.
we should just maybe give a reminder. I don't know if you were
Sure.
here when we said it, but this is our feedback stream. This is kind of the front for our operation. We've
Hmm.
also been
It's all a
building
lie.
yeah, we've also been building an entire product behind this. So it's a sort of fully featured collaboration platform that you can create your own teams on, almost like your own personal record label. You can create projects. You can upload tracks and versions of those tracks. So you can keep track of your progress. You can invite collaborators that get notified when you upload versions. Everyone can leave time-stamped comments
Oh.
along your audio.
Mm.
um, there's tasks that you can assign to people. You can give deadlines to, so everyone gets notified of what's going on with the project. There's also an activity feed if you have a team, so you can see everything that's been done by your collaborators in real time on your project and your tracks. Um, and there's messaging. There's some
Sheesh.
AI stuff we might introduce. We're working on a mobile app. We're working on like desktop file sync. So there's a whole bunch of features that we're excited about, and a
Mhm.
lot that's already there. So if you want to try it out and let us know what you think of the product, submit your feature ideas, and influence our roadmap going forward, just hit us up. That's all you have to do. Reach out to either of our Instagrams or the FastTrack_music one, or hit us up on our Discord, which we would love to have you join as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the spiel.
Spiel.
All right, should we get on with it?
Yeah, let's get on.
So we've got Travis Scott, Love It Main
We got
remix.
Travis Scott in the fucking chat. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Is that a Travis Scott album artwork or is that something else?
It looks like just like the coolest hoodie ever. I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
if it's
cool.
a, I don't know if it's a
Glow in the dark.
album art or anything, but yeah. Shout out
Um,
Hibby.
Yeah, so we've got beat maker, DJ, producer, and dancer. Okay,
Shoot, you dancing, bro?
interesting.
Okay.
Track genre is house, and description is house rap type beat.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yep. I fumbled here. And the last song, if you guys wanted to rate it, it's there. But anyways, all right, cool. You ready?
Yeah, I don't know if we've mentioned that at all, but we have the ability for people to rate tracks if you'd like to do that and give feedback in our Discord. So that's even more reason to join.
Yes, I did mention it. But all right, ready?
All right, three,
3, 2, 1.
1.
Wait, mine skipped to like 30 seconds. I'm
Oh,
gonna go to the beginning.
yeah, I'll restart.
3, 2, 1.
Lucifer, son of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of earth.
This sounds out of key.
Lucifer, son of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of earth. Clap for a nigga with his rapping ass.
That's not
Blow a
Travis
stack
Scott.
for your niggas with your trapping ass. Clap for a nigga with his rapping ass. Blow a stack for your niggas with your trapping
Like the
ass.
worst shitty song ever, dude.
Coming up,
Coming down.
coming down. Ride clean, fish your head in my crown. Bad bitch, H-Town. Keep it trill, y'all know y'all can fuck around. Paris, where we been. Park my Parisian. It's whole time, then no time. It's fuck all y'all season. Piss Bordeaux and Burgundies. Flush out a Riesling. When hoes out, them hoes out. Y'all put y'all weaves in and clap for a nigga with his rapping ass. Blow a stack for your niggas with your trapping ass. Clap for a nigga with his rapping ass. Blow a stack for your niggas with your trapping ass. No pop Molly, I rock Tom Ford. International, bring back the Concord. Numbers don't lie, check the scoreboard. Numbers don't lie, check the scoreboard. Time for Lucifer, son of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of earth. Lucifer, Lucifer, son of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of earth.
Text a message, I don't know the number. Flexing on these niggas, every bone and muscle. Steady taking shots, never hurting them. Even then, y'all don't worry nothing. And I like to give a shout out to my niggas with the game plan. And shout outs to my niggas with escape plans. 20 bands, rain dance. We keep the rain checker with the make plans. Pockets loaded, rocket loaded, okay, let's rock and roll this. Time to go, lock, stock, and two smoking barrels locked and loaded. Diamonds glowing, chop, climbing on them. You think I'm jumping out the window, I got 'em open. Line around the corner, line 'em up the block and over. Sometimes I even stop the smoking when it's time to focus. My shade, Dior, my pants below. Create, explore, expand, concord. I came, I saw, I came, I saw, I praise the Lord. I take what's mine and take some more. It rains, it pours, it rains, it pours. I came, I saw, I praise the Lord.
What up,
I
Sky
take
Nova?
what's mine and take some more. It rains, it pours, it rains, it pours.
Lucifer, son of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of earth. Lucifer, son of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of earth.
This is another 10-second fade here. 15-second.
Yeah, long fade, but sounds pretty good. I mean, pretty well produced, and a lot of it's like fun.
Mm.
But what do you think?
I think you've made the impossible happen, which you made JC sound awkward on a song. So yeah, I mean, I know the song Tom Ford pretty well. He like moved it not off the grid, but like he just kind of like where it goes on a 3, it goes on a 1 kind of thing,
Mhm.
which can work for some things. But one, I feel like I hate the clap for a with a rapping ass.
Yeah,
or what
it's a little
stack
bit.
for a with a rapping. I think
It's a
That's not
little
on you. That's
corny.
it's on you because you chose it. But like to me, that's one of Jay Z's like worst lines ever. It's
Yeah.
like so bad.
Yeah.
So also that like that just wasn't that cool to me to warrant it repeating for a whole song. Um, and I was trying to think like, would there be songs like this that like it's not melodic, right? That sample, it's kind of interesting. I was like, is there other songs that I've listened to before where I like when that happens? And the answer to that is yes. That there's a Disclosure song, where it's like a sample where the guy goes, "When a fire starts to burn, right, and it starts to spread, we're gonna take that bring there home," something like that, right?
Mm.
It's rhythmic, it's cool. There's no pitch to it at all, right? But it's rhythmic. I think I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. I think maybe that sample that you chose, it has elements of that, but it just kind of clashed with it. And the fact with Jay Z kind of just shitting on this song and the other rapper too. I feel like you did a similar thing where instead of him going like on the three like he's supposed to or whatever, you like shifted it by like half a measure or something. It just kind of sounded kind of awkward, you know. It wasn't well fit to the beat that you were throwing down, which was kind of like a mainstream kind of just clubby dancey song, but not as interesting as Disclosure's work either. Um, so yeah, that's my kind of overall vibes to it. I Yeah, I think Jay Z's like decent rapper. He's like known as one of the goats. I'm saying he's a decent rapper, but like you just chose the worst song that he's I feel like ever done. So
Mm.
or at least worst lines. Yeah, but yeah, that's my vibes, first impressions. Unfortunately, I just have kind of bad blood with that bar particularly. But yeah, um,
I think though that the groove itself is pretty good overall. I think like the transitions into the drop sound pretty good. The
yeah,
mixing sounds pretty good. If you
the
sort of
mixing
ignore,
does sound pretty good. Sure.
yeah, if you sort of like ignore the rap history and sort of knowing the tracks behind it and
Mhm.
the weirding out from the grid
Right.
shifting and
The
stuff, it's
grid,
like,
yeah, yeah. The grid is wrong. Like I'm not saying he's offbeat. I'm saying like if you chopped his rap measure and it was like 1 2 3 4, right? What you did was shift it by like 2 beats. He's still on beat, but like he starts his lines earlier than he would have,
hmm,
which can be cool. Um, but I just don't think it was cool this time. Right?
sure.
I think it was awkward. Like because he wrote it with the intent of beat one being on beat one, beat three on three or whatever, and he did it on like a purpose with his beat in mind or whatever, you know. And you're like, oh, I have a hypothesis. I have this cool house beat, which is pretty cool, right? And I have Jay Z. Maybe mine can fit with his if I shift it over here. That's a hypothesis you have and you could test. To me personally, music's subjective. I think it like didn't pass very well.
Yeah.
So you know, take it as it is. But yeah, it's not offbeat. I agree with you. It's not offbeat. It's just awkward.
Awkward
Yeah.
timing with the way that it's all put together.
Yeah.
I would say that my like impression, like not having that background, was more so that it's like sort of a non-serious track. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of got an upbeat, kind of goofy vibe to it. Like
It sounds like a
obviously,
meme song. Yeah.
yeah, like right, a little bit like a meme song. And I
Mhm.
think for something that's kind of partyish like this, it might not be the biggest problem. That's like the baddest fucking coolest lines from Jay Z. It's kind of like supposed to be kind of goofy and just
Yeah.
like a little bit overly repetitive, but kind of cheeky.
Maybe.
And it's, there's a fine line to walk there. It depends on the audience, that kind of thing. It could be like an audience that's at like a club and they just want some house music, and something that's a little bit funny, but you don't zoom in too much on is actually like what's needed.
Uh-huh.
Or people are kind of, it puts people in a good mood to have something kind of silly that's like not serious and not necessarily like great, so to
Hmm.
speak. But it depends on the audience, the listening environment, and teach their own, that kind of thing. But
Hmm.
yeah, do you want to give vibe scores?
Yeah. Might not make sense, but I'm ready.
Okay.
3 2 1.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like funny to me.
Yeah, yeah, true.
It's pretty decently well done, but yeah, funny content.
Um, yeah, content. Again, I like a lot of the beat and like the transitions and the way that the grooves are put together and stuff. Maybe there's room to improve on like the samples you're using and how you're adding them, layering them, repeating them, etc.
Hmm.
But I think overall for me, it comes together as kind of like a goofy, fun house song that's got some like recognizable rappers on it, maybe doing their not best lines, but that's almost like there's some entertainment value to that still.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel super strongly about it either way. It's like I could see this being played in a club in some like island country or something like that.
Sure.
It's kind of tropical. I don't know why I'm getting that vibe, but
Mhm.
kind of laid back, a laid back place, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. You got any other content thoughts?
Yeah, I think I would be in that club and I would like react the same way that I did here. I was like, that was the worst Jay Z line
Yeah,
ever.
yeah,
And they repeated it and they did it awkwardly. And then I think
yeah.
if Jay Z was there with me, he would go up to you and be like, don't play that again. That's my personal thing.
Maybe. Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Do you have a score?
Yeah, I do.
3, 2, 1.
Cool.
Sure. Production. Pretty good. Really.
Yeah, pretty good production. Like I think it sounds pretty good. I don't have
Yeah, I
many
think you have your
complaints.
head around well. The Hibs. Yeah.
Yeah.
96 would have been better. Of course it would have been better, bro, for you. Come on,
Yeah.
don't trick us into giving you a
This
good
isn't a
score.
96, I don't think. I mean, it might
Yeah,
pass in some environments, and some people might have a taste for it, but
yeah,
I don't know if it blew either of us away, which is fine, right? And the whole point is to get constructive feedback here, but
yep, yep.
yeah, it's cool.
Cool. Production score. You got it.
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah,
It's pretty solid
production's pretty good.
overall.
Yeah, I've got a score.
3, 2, 1.
Sweet.
Yeah, I would have went that 69, but yeah, that Tom Ford line is like, oh, so bad, so bad.
Yes.
You made Jay Z sound like an amateur. It's kind of wild. It's partly your fault, partly his fault for like that was such a bad line, such a bad line.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anyways,
thanks for the submissions. It
yeah,
looks like we've got
616. Sky Nova is asking, do you want to do another one?
um yeah, we've got enough time to do one more.
Sure.
So let's do
Are you in the queue? Sky Nova. Yeah, you're next. We got Uproot as well.
which
We got
yeah,
two. We
we
could do
definitely
a
won't be
tip
able to
battle.
fit two more.
Yeah, we got one spot. So
Um
right now, by default, it's Sky Nova. Uproot, thank you for submission. If you're willing to wait until next week when we stream, and you could update your audio file if you want to do that, or if you want to tip right now, you can be reviewed instead of Sky Nova. Like we understand some people have deadlines to meet, so we always have that tip option open. But if not, it'll be Sky Nova by default. So
yeah, just to clarify, you said you almost skipped.
are you gonna?
If you want to, you still can. We haven't moved to the next one yet, but
Yeah,
just for context, we have a stream every Friday,
yeah.
and we should be back next Friday at 5:30 Central Time. So
Mhm.
you would be the first track, unless somebody else like tips, but you'd get into the queue for that stream. And if you want to skip now, to use the little donation thing there, then you would be the last submission today,
Mhm.
and that would push Sky Nova to next week. So
It's on you, Uproot. I can't be a dick, but yeah, I do have that. What do you
up
mean
to
you can't
you.
be a dick? It's not a dick, bro. Skynova's all cool. And like, bro, we're doing this for free. We get a tip. Like, great. Thank
That's
you.
true. It's up to you if you want to. If you're going
If
to,
you
just
are,
like
let us
let us
know.
know in the
Yeah.
chat so we
Because
can
time's
do
ticking.
that.
And if not,
Yes.
like then we can give Skynova a review. So
Yeah. All right.
waiting. We'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3. Just say it in the chat. 2, 1. All right, we'll go to Skynova.
All right. Sweet. But yeah, we've got you in the queue, so you'll be up next, and you will get a notification email next Friday in the morning saying, "Hey, you're in the queue. This is what time the stream is at."
He says I got 5. You got 5? Did you put it in?
Are you gonna tip then or not? Because we have to decide. We also just pushed this one to live, so let us
Is
know
that
if you actually are tipping. Just chat us so we can wait. It's
yeah? Because
lagging.
we don't see it in the system. Either.
Let's see. You said it's lagging, but I assume that means that you are currently tipping, or
Mm-hmm. Give him the benefit of the doubt.
let's see. I just don't want you to like tip and then we've already started reviewing Skynova.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
You wanna
if he's doing it, should we just
can you
give him
can
the
you just
benefit of the doubt?
confirm or deny?
Guys, I'm
And,
going to sleep. It's 1:23 a.m. Yeah,
nice.
bro. It's slow.
But it's slow. Okay.
I
Should we
think
just-
he's trying to tip. Yeah. Okay. Just tip it.
But Hibbs, thanks for joining and getting your 2 tracks in. Lucky
Yeah,
you.
guy. Yeah, for real.
But yeah,
Pleasure to meet
definitely
you
hope
too.
to
We'll be in
get
touch.
you to the product. Yeah, for sure.
Uproot. You're trying to tip, right? Trying.
Trying.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. It worked.
Fire. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Sorry, Skynova.
You are live now, and I have to unreview this one. Okay.
Okay.
Sweet.
All right.
So,
Want to introduce it? Last track.
Yeah. So we've got Untitled by
Ooh,
Uproot
D&B.
the
Let's go,
Fiasco.
baby.
Sweet. Yeah. D&B and Jungle Electronic. And
I like your artist name too.
yeah. You are the
Very cool.
producer and said, I have been working on structure as an artist this week.
Mhm.
Cool.
Working on structure as an artist or as this song? Like, what do you mean?
So you're the artist then also, I assume?
Yeah, cool. All right, drum and bass, jungle, fire. I'm looking forward for some intricate drums here. You ready?
Yep. Let's do it.
Cool. 3, 2, 1. What did ask guitar, bro?
Interesting.
It's got a reggae vibe to it.
Yeah.
Need Damian Marley on this. Bass a little loud.
Bass is a little bit behind too.
I'm mad at it.
There's just certain phrases, the end of phrases that falls behind.
It does sound like it's a pretty big, bulky, like an obese bass.
It's kind of, yeah, falling behind.
Needs the most epic. Where'd the brakes go? Fart noise. Cool.
Those are cool.
Very thin sounding mix. Nice little detail there. Nice little, and like the sound effects, I like it.
Yeah.
Too much space here. Too much space. There's like a 50-second delay on stream, he said.
That was from before. The bass just sounds a little awkward here now, like it's too short.
Cool breaks.
Cool, yeah. Cool.
Nice,
Nice
nice
little
little
sound
details there.
design
Yeah,
elements in
the
there.
sound effects are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that. Cool. He's taking notes. Vibes, first impressions. What do you have?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think it sounds like pretty well thought out. Like all those little, attention to details are definitely heard.
Hmm.
And it's pretty well rounded, like production wise, with the exception of I think the bass just sticks out a lot.
Oh,
There's
it's
different
loud.
places where it's I don't even know if it's just being loud, but it's got a lot of like resonance at some point in like the low mids to like upper bass
Yeah.
range. That makes it sound a little bit too round, kind of.
Hmm.
And at some point, it sounds like the more intricate, like rhythmic, melodic parts that the bass is doing fall behind the beat a little bit, which is odd.
Hmm.
It's almost like it was like somebody playing it, but they weren't quite like on time at every point. But I mean, the rest of it is cool. It is a little bit repetitive, and I
Yep.
was sort of like wondering at every point, is this getting too repetitive? And then it would do something interesting, and I'd be kind of like, okay, actually, like I'm still here for it.
Hmm.
And it kind of dragged me along throughout, but I still felt like it was a little bit deficient of like overall intrigue or like wanting
Yep.
to keep me listening to it,
Hmm.
even though it managed to like hook me in with very subtle things.
Yep.
So I think if I were a listener that wasn't captive to listening to this whole thing, I would not probably listen all the way through it. But it's almost there. I think it just needs a little bit more variation and excitement or something to. He said it is for DJ sets. Likelihood is only the middle will be used.
All right, but it
Got
still
it.
suffers from the same problem. I feel like the middle doesn't sound too different from the edges here.
True.
Um, yeah, I think the attention to detail is very interesting here. A lot of cool sound effects, a lot of cool percussion going on. Um, I think the main thing, and there's like a bunch of different kind of like instrumental characters that come in, like the delayed out saxophone, and then these like super dry like brass stabs that sound pretty cool, and then that kind of reggae guitar that's also uh, it's like what band passed. Like they're all three of them are like it's like kind of jarring. It's like they're all three produced differently, which is interesting. Um, I guess that's what I'm getting at with this. Like this track as a whole, like the details are cool, but as a whole, like zooming out on like what is the character of this track, what is the structure of it. Each one of those characters that come in, I don't think have like a compelling earwormy kind of melody that I remember.
True.
um it was a nice revisitation. Like it's weird because I feel like the structure would have been nice if the guitar was more memorable. Like I made a comment like, oh, I liked that this came back to this character, this guitar that was there, but it just was kind of like a background element, right? There was no like main melody that was super compelling or earwormy. Like even now I can't even like sing back to you like, my favorite part. My favorite part was mostly like the percussion and cool like sound effects, you know. And I think you said you're working on structure. So like the structure I think was overall fine. I think the details were cool. Production, there's some work to do, but it's mostly there. I think the biggest thing is like this song doesn't have like an earworm for me to remember it by. It's not very memorable, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Um, so like that's to say I think you have a good like starting point here. Um, but yeah, I would like to be able to hear like some sort of melody that is an earworm that would make me want to listen to this again. I would like a little bit more cohesion between the three kind of different characters that were there. And there's a point where it's literally just like the bass, the drums, and the drums are not doing breaks. It's just kick and snare, and then the saxophone part. So like the saxophone part like was just on its own, and it by itself wasn't compelling. And it was like very delayed, high echo, high reverb, whereas the drums were very kind of crisp and like in my face a little. Not in my face. I don't think anything was offensive, but just very dry.
Yeah.
So it's like a huge spotlight on the saxophone part that was just kind of underwhelming. I think that was like one of the weakest parts of the song. Um, yeah. So structure wise, I think you're decent. I just think it's the kind of the meat here, the melodies is what I feel like
Yeah.
is lacking. I think details are cool too, but yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
It's weird because I feel like the quality of the individual elements are all like quite good.
Yeah.
Like, even the saxophone has like a good quality aspect to it.
Hmm.
It's just in terms of being interesting melodically, it's not really quite there.
Yeah, they were all just fine. Like if they're instrumentalists in a band, I feel like they're all just fine being background elements. When that's not what you need. You need someone to like steal the show and be like the front man, you know?
Yeah. And that can happen in
Um,
a subtle way too. It's just like does it feel like there's a thoughtful melody here that's like communicating something or conveying some value, or is it just kind of like, this here is a saxophone,
Mhm.
I'm gonna put the sax here, observe it, and then it goes to a different instrument, and
That's
it's
exactly what it sounded like. Yeah. And
it,
like honestly, the fact that they're produced differently, now that I think about it, could be a very interesting part of the song. Like you don't have to change that. I feel like just they all
I
were
agree.
just
Yeah.
background kind of elements, you know?
Yeah, the only thing I could see improving a little bit is maybe some of the cohesion, kind of just
Hmm.
gluing the track together a little bit production wise.
Yeah.
I don't think it's far off. I actually love the fact that a lot of it's very dry and that makes it feel
Me
very
too.
upfront and surgical and detailed.
Hmm.
And I think it's great that like some of those sort of lead like elements that come in, like the sax, do have a bunch of reverb on them, but connecting them so that it doesn't feel like too disjoint, that could
Hmm.
be a bit of a challenge. Might be able to do something with the mix bus to kind of use a little bit of light compression to kind of glue stuff together, or like a tape saturation plugin or emulator, something like that that just provides a bit of consistency across the whole all the tracks within your track.
Hmm.
But overall, like good quality. I just think the intrigue needs to be more there with like the melodies and the overall composition.
Yep. Yep. Cool.
Good product
Score?
scores. Yeah,
3, 2, 1.
cool.
Content.
I think we talked about it. I mean, there's
Did.
lots of interesting stuff, high quality like samples. It's just the melodies and the composition needs to be more gripping and have more of a voice to it, I think.
Yeah, you could even humor putting in like a DMB jungle kind of vocal, like get some
Yeah.
Jamaican guy to say something, you know, and like I don't know if you're getting I don't know if you've recorded this or if you've made it MIDI or if you just got samples from like Splice, but you might be able to find some. It just needs like that main character to be like this is the character of the track, you
Yeah.
know. If all these background characters just want to be background characters, you got to have someone that takes the limelight there.
Yeah.
So, and in the extreme case, I don't know if you're going for this, but like there's the IDM kind of Phoenician snares route where the drums is the main character, but the drums got to be doing something crazy. It's not
Yeah.
just going to be 2 and 4, boom chit, and the saxophone is just kind of phoning in the solo, you know. So, yeah, cool content. You have a score?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. I just imagine like seeing this as a band, like with each instrument as a character, right? Like are these guys like soloing and like would people give a round of applause after solo or would it just be like that was a part? All right, what's next?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
true.
production, you have anything
Yeah, let's see.
besides
I
what we've
mean,
said? The
yeah,
bass was
again,
a little loud, yeah, or just
overall it
heavy.
sounds good. I think the bass just sounds odd. Maybe it's like partly timbre, partly the way it's actually being played or whatever,
Yeah,
whether it's MIDI or not or sample. But overall, like production's pretty good. There's a lot of good detail, a lot of like good sound design, so
yeah,
pretty impressive overall.
yeah. I think for me it was pretty apparent that the bass. I thought loud was just louder than everything, and I don't think this is mastered yet either. So really, I guess realistically, everything else is quieter than it needs to be.
Probably, yeah.
You could probably, and also, so I would rebalance that, and then I would put it through a master chain. Um, Mix wise, though, I think everything sounds like in its right place, and when it's crisp, and when it's spacious, it's spacious. So it's
Yeah,
cool.
definitely agree.
Um, yeah, I think you're a pretty good producer. So yeah, score
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Oh, mine go through. Yeah, there you go. Okay,
Nice.
and track total.
All right, track total.
Organic 3, 2, 1. You ready?
Yep.
Let's go, baby. Organic. We've got
Nice.
like a nice organic 69 there, y'all.
Yes.
Go. Shout out to you, Uproot. Thank you for the tip too. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it a lot.
We
And
want to hear more. So
yeah, thanks everyone for submitting your tracks. Hopefully it was helpful.
W.
And we're here every Friday, like we said. So if you want more feedback, feel free to pop in again next week. And follow us on Twitch so you get notified when we go live. Follow us on Instagram so you see what updates we have. Join our Discord so you can rate each other's tracks. You can still do that after the stream if you want.
Yep.
And we've got a track of the week poll that goes up each week also if you want to vote there. And you can vote for yourself if you really want to.
Yep.
But
you vote for more than one track too.
yes, yeah. But other than that, we're building the world's best music collaboration platform. So that's FastTrack in closed beta behind the scenes. You can create your own teams, kind of like your own personal record label, You can create projects, tracks, and versions. You can do timestamped comments. You can add tasks, and those can have assignees and due dates and notifications. We're building a mobile app for it. We're probably going to build desktop file sync, so you can get all of your files automatically into FastTrack and notify your collaborators when new versions go up. And some AI stuff, maybe, if you're interested in it. But we'd love to hear your thoughts on what we should build and how you like the current product, how we can improve. So if you're interested in that, just literally hit us up, DM us on Instagram or the FastTrack_music Instagram or Discord, and we'll get you right into that.
Yeet.
You got anything else, Chris?
No, y'all. Thanks for the music. A lot of new people. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
DM us if you want to be in that beta. And yeah,
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
peace.
Peace.